Hey guys, welcome back to Mr. Donnell's Social 9 podcast. We are on Chapter 6, Episode 2, Scarcity Explained. If you're following along in the textbook, I am on page 198, and we're going to go over, again, this is all about economics, supply and demand, importing, exporting, but today's episode is fairly short, and it's on scarcity. So, what's in this section, this episode? The principles within an economic system, the differences between the principles and values underlying mixed and market economies in Canada and the US. So, brief explanation of the difference between a mixed economy and a market economy. As you read through this section, this has to do with the next couple episodes. As you read through this section, think about how economic decision making affects your quality of life, and look for examples of how it influences: 1, the variety of products and services available to you, the price of products and services, and the quality of products and their impact on the environment. So really, this chapter is quite interesting. You think about why are products priced the way they are, right? Why are services priced the way they are? Because when you think of products and services meaning paying someone to come do something, a plumber, electrician, someone to cut your grass, all those are services, right? And products. How are those prices determined? And that's called supply and demand. So, stuff to think about. As a consumer, that's us, anyone who buys stuff is a consumer. So basically everybody in Canada that has any money is a consumer. The things you own, such as the items in this photograph, reflect what you value and your decisions about what to buy. They also reflect what is available for you to buy, based on how Canada's economy allocates resources. So, if you purchase your own stuff, like if you have money to buy your own stuff, or you tell your parents what you would like and they get it for you, that is part of your identity. You're essentially what's called voting with your wallet, and you're saying, this is the stuff that I want, this is the stuff that I like. So, also being in Fox Creek, although Edmonton's not too far away, Whitecourt, Grand Prairie, it also has to do with what's available. So just because you might want something, it might not be available, although online shopping has changed that drastically over the last few years. But essentially voting with your wallet. So we're going to read together the comic, or I'll read it to you, on page 199. Okay? And I want you to think about if you've had any examples of this in your life. So, the comic is called Economics in Action on page 199. So, almost there. Good thing I had nothing else to do this morning. If you're looking at the comic, and you want to look at everything here, she's at a video game store. It says Super Cyborg City. Get it here for $49.99 only. So she comes in. Super Cyborg City, please. The guy says, sorry, we're sold out. What? How did this happen? Do you really want to know? I just spent 3 hours in line. Yes, I really want to know. Well, the demand for the game has been incredible. Demand meaning, oh, everybody wants this game. So, the girl asks, why didn't you stock more games? Good question. Why didn't this store just buy more games? The guy says, we tried, but we couldn't get any more copies. Why? The game manufacturer couldn't supply more. Then, last week's truckers' strike meant we only got a partial shipment. So 2 things went wrong. 1, the game manufacturer of the actual game didn't supply enough copies. Think about why they might have chose to do that. Okay? Then, there was a trucker strike. So the actual way that the games get to the stores, the truck drivers went on strike. Because we discount prices more than other stores, we sell out faster. And 4, the customer who was ahead of you just bought the last 2 copies of Super Cyborg City. Is that okay? She says, not really. Sorry, next. The guy behind her says, Super Cyborg City, please. Then she asks the question in her mind, why would someone want 2 copies of Super Cyborg City? The last page there. Are you looking for Super Cyborg City? I've got 2 copies here, Only $99.99 each. Back to the first page there. $49.99. Store selling it for. Lady outside just bought the last 2 copies. $99.99. $100 basically. So you got some questions on the assignment here for you. Assignment 5 that's attached in the Google Doc or on the bottom of the slide here that you'll go through. And just some things to think about at the bottom. Why didn't the game manufacturer make more games? Okay, well, like think about that. Why wouldn't they just make more games? Well, put yourself in their shoes. What if they made too many? What's worse? Obviously, perfect amount would be great. But what if they predicted that it was going to be a huge popular game and they just didn't sell enough copies? Why did the truckers go on strike? Who knows? Why did the store decide to sell the game for less? And why would anyone buy it for $99? That's scarcity. Scarcity, not having enough of something that you want. Okay? In the comic you just read, you saw scarcity at work. The demand for the game Super Cyborg City was so great, so many people wanted it, that the store could not supply enough copies to meet the demand. You don't have to answer this, but just food for thought. What could be done about this situation? What do you believe should be done? Some things people need are unlimited. For example, people need air. Air is usually freely available unless, for example, you happen to be scuba diving. Most things that people need or want, however, are limited. This is because resources are limited. In economics, resources include the money, labor, and materials to supply what people want and need. Resources can be limited for a number of reasons. For example, think of the things you buy at the grocery store, like fresh berries. Many factors can limit the supply of fresh berries. For example, the growing season in Canada and trade agreements with other parts of the world. Think about every time you go to the grocery store, when you're trying to buy fresh fruit and vegetables, what's the price? Is the price higher during certain seasons? Where does that stuff come from when it's winter here? We're not growing it here during then. In economics, the idea that resources are limited is called scarcity. Limited meaning they can run out. It can run out. The basic question of economics are about how to solve scarcity. So you got 3 questions here. Not that you have to answer, but just something that you got to think about. What is needed or wanted? By the way, if you can answer these 3 questions and you're going to start your own business, there's a good chance you're going to make a lot of money. Think Shark Tank, think Dragon's Den, all those shows. So number 1, what is needed or wanted? Can you predict what people are going to need or want? 2, how is it going to be produced? 3, who's going to get it? Who's that target audience? Essentially, those are the 3 questions that people that create businesses, sell products, design things, provide services, answer when they're thinking about those questions. Assignment number 6, critical thinking 6.3. So it says, how might Canada's government get involved in situations where people's wants or needs are not being met? So you could do point form here or short paragraph. But I want you to think again of what is needed or wanted, how is it produced, who's going to get it. Is there anything in Canada that people need but someone's not providing it? And if it is, should the government provide it? I will give you one example. Canada is a gigantic country, landmass-wise. People are spread out over a large area. There's not a lot of profit to be made in postal service, hence Canada Post. So there's not really a private organization, although we have some now. You're thinking like FedEx, UPS, but picture Canada. Canada Post ships everywhere, all over Canada. Because it's a service that is needed and it wasn't being met. Okay? It's also called a crown corporation when the government owns it. But a lot of the times now, especially in Canada, there was way more crown corporations back in the day. But if there is a product or service that people need that's not being provided, that would be a situation where the government could step in and provide that service. Okay? So what creates scarcity? There are three basic factors of production that interact to limit the supply of what people need and want. These include land, labor, and capital. Okay, I'm also looking at page 203 right now, if you're following along. That has a better description of it. Land consists of all the materials found in the natural environment needed to produce goods and services, such as renewable resources, trees, raspberries, and non-renewable resources, oil, gold, etc. Think critically. Not a question to answer, but just think. What impacts might this decision about using the land have on the land? You need land you need resources. Okay? Some points to consider. Who is living on the land? Pollution, reclamation after extraction. That means like replanting the trees. Displacement of people in nature. Restoration activities such as tree planting. Where do the trees in the lumber industry fit into all this? So questions to think about. The three factors of production: land, labor, capital. Labor consists of the physical and mental effort needed to produce the goods and services. Example, you got agricultural workers to produce food, servers to staff restaurants. In this photo, construction workers are building a house. If they find other jobs, or if there aren't many qualified construction workers available, fewer houses will be built. Think critically. How do choices concerning jobs affect the workforce? Supply and demand isn't just about products, remember, okay, or goods. It's also about services. If there aren't enough people, to example, like construction workers to build houses, maybe they're not getting paid enough money, but there's a demand for them, well, either less houses are going to get built, less buildings are going to get built, and the people that are skilled at it are going to make way more money because they're going to be in demand. And capital. Capital consists of the money that people own or borrow, used to purchase equipment, tools, and other resources to produce goods and services. So this photo at the top here shows an airplane manufacturing plant. Okay, so this is a factory that builds airplanes. Such a plant requires billions of dollars in specialized equipment and specialized workers. Think critically. What if the capital that built this airplane plant was invested in something else? What impact might this have on airports and air services? What I want you to think here is, so it wasn't just some guy had $1 billion in his bank account and said, I'm going to make an airplane factory. It was either borrowed or invested from other people, knowing, or at least believing, that the money that they're going to spend now paying these highly qualified people and all this crazy equipment they need, it will then make them money later on when the plane is in the air and they're charging tickets and all that stuff, right? Eventually they make money later on. But what if they thought, you know what, I don't think there's very much money to be made. Look right now. The airlines are not doing well. No one's traveling. We're all at home. If people were scared to invest or put money into an airplane factory like this, what chain reaction would that have on the airline services that are already there? So now we have less planes flying in the sky. What might that cause to ticket prices for people that want to go anywhere? It's just something to think about. This chain reaction of events that can occur. I attached a little video here called What is Scarcity? I can play it. I'll play it for you guys, but you can play it. I'm not sure how long it is, actually. Might play it and see. I don't think it's too long. Let's watch together. And that is it for chapter 6, episode 2, guys. I will see you next time for chapter 6, episode 3, Economic Systems Explained. Thanks a lot. See you next time.